My morning thought for today is that things work out. When I was younger and I had a failure or something didn't work out, it felt like the end of the world. It felt like I'd never be successful again. I'd never be happy again, that I'd lost something I would never get back again. And now that I'm much, much older and I have kind of the wisdom that comes with perspective. And by perspective, I mean looking at years, in my case, decades of these experiences in my lifetime and witnessing what happens with other people who've experienced loss and failure is that eventually, sooner or later, things will work out. And the odd thing is that sometimes not getting what you wanted or what you thought you wanted is actually a blessing in disguise. And I was trying to understand why this happens, and I think it's because we get comfortable, we settle. It's kind of human nature. I mean, it's not fun being on the edge of discomfort and anxiety and stress 100% of the time. And we are that way sometimes with our exercise, with our work and professional development. And it's rough to have that be part of your personal life too. So it's on every single front. You're pushing the boundary and growing, and it's stressful. So I think people settle. I think they get comfortable. And I know that's happened with me in jobs. It's happened with me in relationships. I know it's happened to other people. And I look back on it, and sometimes something bad would happen, like a reorg at work, or something would happen with the leadership at the top of the company. My startup failed. All these things were horrible things when they happened. I felt like it was the end of the world. It was devastating. But sooner or later, the next thing that I did was even better. And I think that's because that failure, that pain, being forced out of my comfort zone, made me re examine my life, made me think really hard about my career path and what I wanted next, and be extremely intentional about what I wanted, what I wasn't going to settle for, where I wanted to end up at the end of my career and at the end of my days, and not just settle and not just put up with something. And so each time this happened, it got better and better. And I think that happens with relationships too. I think we get comfortable. I know people that were on the path to, to getting married, and in the end, it wasn't going to be the right person for them, but they were still marching down that path. And when it all fell apart, it was devastating. But in the end, they later ended up with a much better partner in their life. And that's because now they knew who they wanted to be with, who the right person was for them, the things that they were putting up with that they're not going to put up with anymore. And they raised the bar. And so it's always about raising the bar, saying, I want something better for myself next time. I want a better job. I want my business to be more successful. I want a better partner in my life. I want a better friend. I want a better situation. I want to end up in a better place. And I'm not going to settle for anything less than better next time. So I think if you're feeling discouraged, if you're upset, if you're hurt, if you're full of stress and anxiety because something hasn't worked out for you, um, it may be a blessing in disguise. It may be that you dodged a bullet. And I've heard of this happening where people almost ended up working at a company that actually is kind of a terrible company, or working for a boss they thought was okay, but they later found out was a terrible, a terrible boss. And they hadn't done their homework ahead of time that they should have done. But they dodged a bullet. They didn't get something they wanted, and they found out later that was a good thing. I didn't really want that. Or, whatever they've done next kind of raised the bar. So that is my thought for today, is that things work out. And I'm not saying they work out immediately. It's not going to turn around the very next day, next week, maybe even not the next month. I've watched it in my own life and I've watched it in other people's lives. Sometimes it takes years for things to turn around and slowly get back on a path that actually ends up in an even better place than where they were on track to end up before, which is fantastic. So you will find something better, or you will find someone better. Things do work out.